Deputy Adams, please. Thank you.
Taoiseach. Taoiseach, your government has for months now claimed that the anti-water charges campaign is on its last legs. But the huge turnout of citizens at the Right to Water rally in this city last Saturday gives a lie to these claims. Contrary to the government's assertions, more citizens are more determined than ever on this issue. They have told you that they cannot pay and that they will not pay your water charge, and that Irish water is a toxic quango which should be abolished. But instead of listening to all the warnings, instead of listening to the hundreds of thousands who have demonstrated, instead of scrapping water charge protesters were jailed, local authorities were forced to hand over details of tenants, landlords were forced to do the same, and you wasted €650,000 on a new advertising campaign, and you give away 85 million of the taxpayers' money to private consultants, and you wasted 539 million on water meters. And now, Taoiseach, Minister Kelly is threatening to take water charges from people's wages or social welfare payments. Taoiseach, do you support Minister Alan Kelly in this latest threat? Can you explain the legal basis for the process he has indicated? And finally, could you tell the Dáil how you intend to distinguish between those who can't pay the water tax and those who won't pay?
Well, I think I'm happy to note that 1 point.
Sorry, will you settle down, please?
I'm happy to note that 1.23 million people have signed up for Irish Water. About 250,000 of those are not Irish Water customers. Are not Irish Water customers, but they will qualify for the assistance from the Department of Social Protection in respect to that. Now, this morning I listened to one of your colleagues on the left wing talking about paying for this through transaction taxes, through corporation taxes, through general taxation, and your own party have put forward propositions that are wildly off the mark in the context of proposals to deal with this. So when Deputy Ellis says we're already paying for it, yeah, I'm all right, Jack. But what about the people who have inferior water supplies? What about the people who have no sewage systems? What about
Deputy Ellis? You're not leader of the party yet. Just settle down. Deputy Ellis is safe to look after himself.
I'd be interested to hear how Deputy Boyd Barrett is going to solve the problem out in his own area now, where thousands of houses appear to be connected with lead piping to a water connection. This is not satisfactory. And that's the reason why you have to have an entity that is able to borrow separate from the government to be able to invest, to fix and be able to invest for the future. So the answer to your question, Deputy Adams, is this. The Minister for the Environment is dealing with this problem. He has not yet brought his propositions to government for consideration and for decision, but he will bring them shortly to government, and government will ensure that the legislation here sets out the criteria for full compliance with the law in respect of the modest contribution that is involved here of €1.15 or €3 per week, depending on the number of persons in the household. So that will come before government in the near future, and government will consider the propositions from the Minister for the Environment and make its decision. As you're aware, Deputy Adams, in the cases of where people have a real difficulty in paying, there are always opportunities, as has applied through schemes over the years, to give assistance there. Government listened very carefully to the many thousands of people who expressed their anxiety and their concern, and reduced the charges to a very modest contribution of €1.15 and €3. So the Cabinet will consider and decide on the propositions from the Minister for the Environment in terms of the legislation to ensure full compliance here. And as you're aware, the prices have been set out to 2019 No other utility facility has been priced in that way, but water is. So for the people all over the country, who the 1.23 million who've signed up here, with the compliance numbers of those who are Irish Water customers, they have a sense of that this is an important element of our country moving forward. And for those who decide that they won't pay, they're not being fair to those who understand that water is a precious commodity. To have high quality water, to have proper sewage schemes, requires investment on a major scale, and it cannot be done under the discredited system that we've had for the last 40 years.
Deputy Adams, thank you.
Well, I asked you 3 questions, Taoiseach, and you ignored 2 of them. I'll repeat it again. Do you support Minister Alan Kelly in his latest effort to impose attachment orders? And how does the government propose to distinguish between those who can't pay and those who won't pay your water tax?
Sorry. Deputy Byrne, would you please? Settle down. You're back in business now. You had your holiday. Thank you very much. Deputy Adams, please proceed. Thank you. Shh. Please. Would you settle down, please? Thank you. Deputy Butler, would you please? Thank you. Taoiseach doesn't need your help at this stage. Thank you. Deputy Adams, please.
It's interesting that this latest threat to working people's coming from the Labour wing of the Fine Gael party, and the heckling Cian Cordia is coming from one of his sidekicks. But maybe the Taoiseach will answer this question, because it was also revealed at the weekend that there are no records and no minutes of important meetings that were held in 2012 between the former Minister, Phil Hogan, and the key players in Irish Water. And in the light of the scandal around the huge sums of public money spent on consultants, would you agree, Taoiseach, that this is an extraordinary revelation? During Irish Water's first 6 months, April to September 2012, 23 meetings took place between Board Gosh and the department, but only 10 were minuted. There were 4 meetings between Minister Hogan and the Board Gosh officials, 2 of them with the Board Gosh chairwoman. That's simply not creditable that meetings took place about the establishment of a major new public utility, but no note were taken at any of these meetings. Taoiseach, have you spoken to the former Minister Hogan about this? Do you agree that this scenario is unacceptable? And would you also agree, given the issues at stake, that an Oireachtas inquiry into this entire matter is needed? And would you please answer my earlier 2 questions?
Thank you. Taoiseach.
Well, in respect of, I do support the Minister for the Environment, and I await the Minister coming before Cabinet with his proposals to ensure that there is fairness and equality of treatment here, and compliance in respect of the modest contribution that is required for water. And obviously we will consider and decide on the proposals that the Minister will bring, and I support him in what he's trying to do here to provide a proper high quality water supply for business and for consumer alike, and to provide our country with an investment capacity to deal with the grossly inferior sewerage systems that apply in many parts of the country. In respect of meetings that have taken place, let me assure you, Deputy, that the Independent Regulatory Authority have signed off on elements of this in terms of the cost set up for Irish Water. The Government, the Cabinet, approved of all of the major decisions in respect of Irish Water, and the Minister has already answered many questions on that. As I said to you, the position here is that 1.23 million people have signed up. I hope that many more will. About 250,000 of those are not directly customers of Irish Water, but they will have the opportunity to claim the assistance support from the Department of Social Protection. And as in any other scheme, equality and fairness is very important here. And as you're well aware, a couple of months ago you were very much in support of making your payments yourself because you realised the importance of good, clean water. But you listened to the populist drum and changed your tack. The Minister is quite prepared to answer any questions here or at the Oireachtas Committee. There's no need for a formal investigation.
Thank you.
Because these matters have been signed off on both by Cabinet, by the Regulatory Authority, and the Minister has answered questions right along the line here.
Deputy Fleming.
Thank you, Concola.